Serious problem for Carlos Alcaraz in Tokyo. Could this be his last match in the tournament? Let's find out. Carlos Alcaraz debuted in Tokyo with a clear victory, but also with a big scare that left all the fans on edge. The world number one suffered a sprain in his left ankle right in the middle of his match against Sebastián Baez. With the score tied at 2 games apiece, Alcaraz rushed to chase down a drop shot and ended up on the ground showing signs of pain. Silence fell over the stadium. Everyone feared the worst. "I was scared, I won't lie to you," Carlos admitted afterwards, making it clear that the fright was as real as the pain. Luckily, the medical staff acted quickly. They taped up his ankle and, far from crumbling, Alcaraz came back stronger. He broke Baez's serve at 4-4 and closed out the first set with authority, proving that his mentality and competitive spirit remain ironclad. The rain wanted to add more drama to the match, interrupting play for half an hour. But the Mercian, far from losing his rhythm, returned even more solid. 2 breaks in the second set and an implacable serve gave him a comfortable 6-4, 6-2 win. Alcaraz himself admitted afterwards that he feared he might not be able to finish the match. But the physiotherapist reassured him, and just being able to walk back to the bench restored his confidence. That mixture of resilience and reassurance once again pushed him towards victory. Now he'll have a day of rest before facing Belgian's Izu Bergs, a rival coming off a tough battle against Alejandro Tabilo. While the ankle remains the big question mark, the truth is that Carlos will enter as the absolute favorite in the second round. But that wasn't all. Off the court, Alcaraz also spoke about the unity of the top players in demanding greater weight in the Grand Slams. "We're all fighting to get something better," he stated, adding his voice to a movement that could change the future of tennis. The debut in Tokyo left 2 sides for Carlos Alcaraz: the ankle scare that worried everyone and the confirmation that, even in adverse situations, he can bring out his best version. His ability to react was as striking as his tennis. Now the big question is how he will respond physically in the upcoming matches. What's certain is that Tokyo greets him with the same mixture of tension and hope that follows every step of his young but brilliant career. Rivalry or respect? Jannik Sinner spoke again about Carlos Alcaraz after losing the world number 1 spot. And far from showing pressure or annoyance, he surprised with words that demonstrate the admiration he feels towards the Mercian. After debuting with a win in Beijing, the Italian made it clear that the battle for the top is still alive, but that Alcaraz deserves to be where he is. What exactly did Sinner say and how does he see the rest of the season? After defeating Marin Cilic, Sinner addressed the press and was blunt: "Carlos deserves to be there. He won many titles this year and played more tournaments, achieving great results." With those words, he recognized that the Spaniard's work has been impeccable. Far from feeling frustrated about surrendering the number 1 spot, the Italian appeared calm. For him, what matters most is not the weekly ranking, but what has been achieved at the Grand Slams. "The ranking comes and goes, the important thing is what we've done in the big tournaments," he assured. In fact, he recalled that both he and Alcaraz split the 4 majors, though they took different paths throughout the year. That's why, far from seeing their duel as a burden, he perceives it as motivation and a sign of the level they're both reaching. As for the remainder of the season, Sinner was clear: the fight isn't over. He mentioned key tournaments such as Shanghai, Paris-Bercy, the Turin Finals and the Davis Cup, where the course of 2025 can still change. He also spoke about a technical aspect he considers crucial after falling to Alcaraz at the US Open: improving his serve. Against Cilic, his serve was solid and allowed him to take control of the match from the start. "Today I served very well, we'll see if it was coincidence or a constant," he commented. That detail shows that Sinner isn't only thinking about the ranking, but about evolving his tennis to be prepared when he faces Carlos again. The rivalry continues, but the mutual admiration makes every clash even more special. Jannik Sinner's words show that his rivalry with Carlos Alcaraz is marked by both respect and ambition. He recognizes the Mercian's merit, but also makes it clear that there is still plenty of season left to play. With improvements in his serve and a calm mindset, the Italian promises to keep fighting on the biggest stages. And that means we'll still have thrilling chapters ahead in this story. In Tokyo, during a pre-tournament press conference, Alcaraz made it clear that his success doesn't make him complacent. He acknowledged that Sinner will make changes to try to beat him in future matchups, and that he himself must be ready to adapt. "I know he's going to change," he noted, showing a mental approach that combines respect for his rival with confidence in his own ability. This detail highlights the maturity of a player who, despite his youth, understands that modern tennis is defined by constant adaptation and mental strategy. Alcaraz emphasized that changes are part of the natural evolution of any great player. Just as he himself has done after past defeats, he now expects Sinner to look for variations to surprise him. However, far from seeing it as a threat, he views it as motivation to grow even more. This vision reveals one of the keys to his success. He not only enjoys the present, but projects himself into the future with determination, accepting that every match is an opportunity to test himself and to show how far he can go. The Merchant doesn't remain in theory, as the numbers back up his current dominance. With 62 victories so far this year and 7 titles won, he is only 4 wins away from surpassing his personal best. These results confirm that his competitive mindset translates into concrete achievements. Alcaraz doesn't just dream of being number one, he supports it with victories in the most important tournaments. The rivalry with Sinner thus becomes a driving force behind his performance. In addition, he occupies first place in the race to Turin, which puts him in a privileged position to close the year once again as world number one. This detail not only marks a milestone in his young career, but also profiles him as one of the figures who could dominate tennis over the next decade. The difference compared to other talents his age is his consistency and the way he faces every challenge with ambition, but without losing perspective that there is still much to improve. In his statements he also made it clear that he doesn't think too much about being considered the greatest player of all time. For Alcaraz, what matters now is enjoying the process, training with intensity and keeping his humility. He recognizes that he has already achieved great things at just 22 years old, but insists that what really counts is taking care of the small details every day. This philosophy reveals an approach that goes beyond titles. He seeks to grow both as an athlete and as a person, consolidating a mindset that will be key in his future. The rivalry between Alcaraz and Sinner is not just a matter of statistics, but also of playing styles and personalities that both complement and contrast at the same time. While the Spaniard brings aggressiveness, energy, and an explosive style to every point, the Italian represents consistency, calm, and a methodical game. That duality makes every encounter an unpredictable spectacle, where hitting hard is not enough. It's essential to read the rival and anticipate his moves intelligently. Alcaraz's words reflect that deep capacity for analysis that distinguishes great champions. Knowing that his rival is going to adjust his strategy forces him to prepare mentally, but also to maintain his identity as a player. It's not about losing his essence, but about being flexible enough to respond to any change. This vision reinforces the idea that modern tennis is a sport where adaptability is as crucial as physical power or refined technique. The current context adds even more excitement to this rivalry. With Alcaraz dominating the rankings and Sinner chasing, every tournament acquires symbolic value. They're not only fighting for titles, but also for consolidating themselves as leaders of a new generation looking to take the place left by legends such as Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. The tension between them represents the generational shift at its peak, a clash of talents marking the start of a new era in world tennis. In Tokyo, Alcaraz has the chance to reaffirm his status as number one and show that, beyond words, he can keep up his winning rhythm on any surface and in any context. Each match will be scrutinized, not only by fans, but also by Sinner, who will surely be taking notes from Beijing. This dynamic of mutual observation in different tournaments adds a fascinating strategic component to their rivalry, as if each step were part of a great chess game. The Spaniard, however, remains calm. He assures that the only thing on his mind now is training well, playing with discipline, and enjoying the journey. That serenity, combined with his natural energy on the court, makes him a unique competitor. He is aware that no one can predict the future, but his way of facing it is by focusing on what he can control: daily effort and passion for tennis. That mindset has brought him this far, and it could sustain his reign. In the end, Alcaraz's statement about being one step ahead of Sinner is not just a simple phrase of confidence, but a snapshot of his competitive approach. He recognizes his rival's talent, anticipates his adjustments, and at the same time reaffirms his conviction that he too will evolve to stay at the top. It's a clear message: the battle is just beginning, and far from fearing it, he's ready to enjoy it and grow with each encounter. That spirit is what keeps alive the magic of this new rivalry.